and Islam to all the Moors. All right, let's begin. We're back with another presentation of Scorpio, y'all. The Gospel and the Zodiac, the secret truth about JC, the Christ figure, keyword, gospel, and the Zodiac, right? What do they have in common? And the secret truth. Why should the truth be a secret, right? The truth is supposed to be in the light. The secret truth about JC. All right, the Christ figure. Y'all know JC is also what? There's a Trinity. So there's a lot going on in this title. This book is by Bill Darlison, rather. Okay? So like and share the video. I expect that if you stay longer than 5 minutes, you like and share the video. If you've been here more than once, and you've stayed more than 5 minutes more than once, okay, I expect that you subscribe. It's a gentleman's agreement, okay? So no one-way street. I'm giving you access to hundreds of thousands of notes, Federal Reserve notes, okay? Y'all might call that dollars. A formal education and decades of formal and informal education, okay? All right, so I'm not ashamed to say or shy to say that I'm not the average person, okay? So I'm providing my time, my knowledge, my analysis, more importantly, my analysis. I'm providing that to you for free, okay? So I do have a right to set the expectations. Okay, so I'm inviting you to leave if you don't want to live up to my expectations, okay? So if you are going to stay more than 5 minutes, if you like this and you stay longer than 5 minutes, subscribe, like and share the video. Okay, share means share it in messages, also on your social media page, okay? Now, there's a reason why I'm doing this. Also, subscribe, again, as I've said, if you've been here more than once, okay? If you don't like it, I'm inviting you to leave and don't come back. I'd rather you went, be gone. But it's funny how people will watch your content, right? And claim they don't like it, but they stay. All right. But anyway, now that we're past that, let's get into it. We are on page, I believe we're on page, give me 1 second. Okay, hold on. Yeah, we're on page 61. I kind of went off on a tangent in the last presentation. Okay, so let's begin page 61. All right. The nature of this path has been explained 3 times now. Okay. These 3 predictions of the passion, the death, and resurrection. Okay? So now remember, scholars, we are in Scorpio, Mark 10, 32 through 52. All right? The passion, the death, and the resurrection. Mark chapter 8, verse 31. Mark chapter 9, 30 through 32. And chapter 10, 32 through 34. Okay, so these are the verses. All right. These three predictions of the death, the passion, and the resurrection are set pivotally in the Gospels. So in other words, everything hangs or hinges on the passion, the death, and the resurrection. Okay? Now, in the devil's pulpit, you will find that that's all screwed up because JC escaped. That's right, JC escaped. Somebody else was hung up on a torture stake or crucified. Go watch the video that I did from the devil's pulpit. It's not my information. I'm presenting it the same way I'm presenting right here from the devil's pulpit by Robert Taylor, okay? JC escaped. He secretly escaped. Now the initiates know this. The initiates know it. So if JC never died, then what do you have in Christianity? Right? The pivot falls apart. And Christianity tumbles over. Okay? But y'all go, the link to the free PDF is in the description area of this video. Y'all can research this yourself. I'm not making it up. I don't even have a dog in this race. I left Christianity a long time ago. I left the New Testament a long time ago. Okay? I don't have a dog in the race. I really don't care what you believe. I don't have any commission to evangelize. I'm not a religious leader. Okay, and I've told people that for years. Even people who asked me to start a religious organization. I've told them that I'm not a religious leader. Okay? So what you believe, I really don't care. All right? That's between you and whoever else. Makes me know never mind. Y'all remember when people used to say that? Okay, now let's continue. All right? In order to emphasize the underlying Piscean character of the narrative as a whole. Y'all got that? So the passion, the death, and the resurrection are set pivotably in the gospel to emphasize the Piscean character of the gospel narrative itself. So y'all go back and research Pisces. That's two fish. This is going to correlate to the Raphaim. It's going to correlate to the Raphaim. Okay? You can extend that to maritime law. You can extend it to what? Darkness, evil. Right? The rule of corporations, the Catholic Church. All right? The Catholic Church and the trusts that it's set up. Okay? And its ownership of all of these corporations. In other words, the world of the dead. Where are the Raphaim? They're in the world of the dead under the waters. Okay, so the water, the law of the water has been brought onto the land. Your status as being a cursed Moor is civil leader mortus. You're civilly dead. Therefore, you have been what? Remixed into a corporation. Right, y'all? I mean, everybody knows, most of y'all should know what I'm talking about. That's your straw man, your ens ligas, the nom de guerre. Okay, and the corporations are dealing with that, and you are carrying the burden of it, right? You're paying its debt. Okay, so they don't attack the physical living man, they attack that straw, the nom de guerre, the ens ligas, right? The corporate, all caps, name, Okay, and you're held as surety of it, and you don't know, well, a lot of y'all don't know, but a lot of y'all do know this. Okay, so this is corporate domination, oppression, right? So this is what Pisces is. All right, the law of the seed brought on the land, maritime law, okay? The Catholic Church, the Pope, the Holy See, right? All of these fictions. This is what this is all talking about. That's Christianity. That's why you see Christianity and you see the Catholic papal bulls all throughout the U.S. statutory system. And they've created legal principles off of it. For example, the doctrine of discovery. Right? The doctrine of discovery. They just come in and take the autochthonous people stuff. They take the land, they take everything. Well, what is this? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Unum sanctum. Right? Unum sanctum. Where the Catholic Church says we're the big boss. We represent JC on earth. Right? And the kingdoms are under the church. And the kingdoms do the church's bidding. Okay? And you are nowhere in that. You're just a pawn. You're a resource, remixed as a human. Y'all feel me? Remixed as a human. They traded places with you. All right? So let's continue. That's what's happening here. But the problem is, when you look at this, when you study it, you see that JC, the Christ figure, escaped with his life. And somebody else carried the bag for him. Every human being, son of man, has to be tried by suffering. That is absolutely false. You do not have to be tried by suffering. Okay, this is contradictory to the Mosaic covenant, which is actually a contract. It's a contract. Now, when you have a seed enter into the world from birth, right? The seed ascends out of the womb into on the earth plane. Does the seed have to learn? Yes. Does that involve suffering? No. You're suffering because the system is set up for you to suffer. Why? Because it is a consequence. Darrell-El says, Satan, yes indeed. Yes indeed. It's a consequence. It's a natural law, cause and effect. When you live out of harmony with nature, when you're going against natural law, which is the Most High's laws, of course there are going to be significant consequences. Period. Okay, there's no magic and mystery in that at all. Okay, so one of the curses or punishments or conditions, let's keep it concrete. One of the conditions, consequences of not following the Most High's commandments, going against nature, is sickness, poverty, short or early death. Okay, anytime you don't have enough, you're going to have problems with people, right? Everybody's stressed out. Some people start lying and cheating. Other people get jealous, envious, they set you up. I mean, all kind of social problems come out of that, right? Okay, so that's the conditions. The punishment, Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 15 through 68, right? But in the situation where you have everything you need. And the parents, the man and the woman, they have all the material things that they want and need. There's a good environment for that for that seed to grow. Okay, the community is good. You have everything. You got enough food. You got enough water. You have enough toys, right? Everybody's behaving in a dignified way. Everybody's honorable. That's great. There's no need to suffer in that. Suffering comes from poverty and dishonorable thinking and behavior. That's when you suffer. Okay? So don't get it twisted. Yes, they set up a corporate system that is oppressive. Genesis chapter 1. It is oppressive to the autochthonous Moors. Genesis chapter 2. But to say that that is nature, no, that's their system. Destroy that system and the suffering can go away. Put a system in where people are behaving honorably and they have enough, no suffering. No suffering whatsoever. Okay? Now, this notion, this fundamental notion of Christianity is bogus. This idea you need to suffer. Okay? I hope everybody sees that. That's bogus. Only when you don't have enough and people behave dishonorably is there suffering. Period. Okay? In Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, no suffering. Why? People are behaving honorably. They're empathetic. Everybody has enough. Okay, let's say somebody starts acting crazy, violating the Most High's commandments, and I keep saying this, which are natural law. Let's say they do one of the worst things. Let's say they murder someone or rape someone. What do you think is going to happen? What's the natural law tell you? Execute judgment. So when that person is found out, what's going to happen to him? Right? Or her? Curtains. And then that problem is gone. And it'll be curtains immediately as soon as they're found out. That's natural law. Right? You got to execute judgment. So no, there's not going to be a whole bunch of suffering because people will see that. Right? Okay, let's continue. Suffering and death are a condition of our human nature. As I just showed, no, it is not. It is a condition of the corporate system of domination. The militaries of the world, the economies or banking system of the world, and those who create culture, social engineering. Okay? These days, who is it? It's those media companies that own the movie movie channels, and they control what type of entertainment and music is put out. They make everyone suffer. They give you these fake leaders. Have y'all noticed that the people who are very popular on YouTube, that the algorithm promotes them? Have y'all noticed anything about their personality and their appearance? I know I have. A lot of them. Now, I don't know them. Let me just say, and I'm not mentioning any names. But a lot of them, to me, look like they're people who have personality disorders. Serious personality disorders. Uneducated. And I'm not talking about they never went to a formal, or they were never formally educated in a university. I'm not saying that, because there's a lot of uneducated people who come out of universities. So you need to look up what education is. But these people are uneducated. Their English is deplorable. Deplorable. And they have signs on their bodies that in today's world, only a certain type of personality does it. But these people are put out in front of you over and over and over again by the social media algorithms. Why do y'all think that is? Why do you think that the power structure, these people who control media, put fools and mentally ill people out in front of you? Why do y'all think they do that? People who have extreme, crazy ideas. Or you can look around their environment. Well, I don't know. I can see that something's wrong with them. But why do y'all think they do that? What are they trying to do to you, your psyche? More importantly than that, what are they trying to do to your little ones? Your teenagers too. Those who are easily influenced. You think they might be trying to normalize mental illness? And let these people who have mental illnesses be positioned to be your leader? I mean, visibly mentally ill. Visible extreme personality disorders. And when you listen to them talk, some of y'all might not like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you like the T.I. is. Ignorance should not be celebrated. All right? And people who have personality disorders usually don't become leaders. All right? Especially when you can visually look at them and tell. All right? Or, I'll give you all an example. So when you're overseas, all right? A lot of y'all want to leave the States. A lot of countries you can go to if you have the qualifications and you can be an English teacher, right? But the first thing they're interested in, they want to hear you speak English. Yes, they want to hear. And if you speak what they say is English that's hard to understand, they won't hire you. They will not hire you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? People should at least speak the language properly. Now, y'all might not like it, but I'm just telling you the truth, the fact. No, it is not okay to talk street talk. And you're supposed to be an educated person. That is not okay. And why would you want that presented to your little ones and even to yourself? No, that's not okay, y'all. It's actually embarrassing. It's shameful. But our people, the way they've been indoctrinated, they accept it and that's what they want, right? Who was it? Was it the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? I saw the movie Malcolm X. He had 2 glasses of water. One dirty, one clean. His point was that whichever one you give the people, that's what they'll accept. All right? So y'all be careful about who you watch. Be careful about who you watch. Okay? How they speak really does matter. Okay? How they look. If you think someone looks like they have a personality disorder, maybe they actually do. Okay? And you can believe that people who have personality disorders, they don't care about you. But anyway, I'm off on another tangent. Let me come back. If I offended you, that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. We should not be dopes, okay, and be duped into putting our hopes into these false gods that they put in front of y'all. All right? There's a reason why they promote them. Okay, and you can be sure, that they care more about money and fame and that they'll do anything for it. Just like your entertainers, they will do anything for it. Sacrifice you for the money and the fame. Okay? All right. We all have our own route to Calvary, the place of the skull. We discussed this yesterday. Suffering and death are a condition of our human nature, part of what Wordsworth calls, quote, the still, sad music of humanity. Our mortality guarantees our suffering. No, it does not. You can live a great life all the way up into the end without suffering or with minimal suffering. There's no truth in what he just said. And the lessons of this gospel is that we must accept that this is so and go on anyway. All right, that's the lesson. I did not say it. I didn't say that. That's not my words. The lesson of the gospel is to accept suffering. Well, y'all know that suffering is a consequence of breaking the Most High's laws, going against nature. Deuteronomy 28, 14 through 68. We discussed this yesterday. So yes, the consequence of you disrespecting your ancestors by corrupting the blood of the covenant, by breaking the law, is suffering. Do y'all see that? See how they walked you out of your birthright and sweet talked you into a dead state? Y'all see it? Into a dead state? You went from being the rightful heir of all land and resources on the planet to a stateless person, to a civil leader more to status. You're civilly dead, black. Ain't nothing about you is important. Didn't even have to give you any consideration, whatever. But you got walked out of your birthright, sweet talked into a dead state. And you accept this notion of the gods' spell. What gods? Whose spell? Zeus's spell. Dios. Zeus. Odin. Woden. That's the same. Odin and Woden and God. This is the same deity. Google search it. Okay, God in Latin is Dios, Zeus, Jupiter, all of the major deities, Apollo, the Tetragrammaton. This is what you're dealing with. You've been bamboozled, hoodwinked. Y'all hear me? They bum rushed you with the okey doke and you went for it. And you still biting. You got punked out of your birthright. Sweet talk, made a fool of. They pimped you. You got pimped. All right, and our ancestors got pimped. I hope y'all can see what I'm trying to get you to see. This is contrary. This is the punishment. Christianity is offering you on a platter the punishment of breaking the Most High's commandments, wrapped up in a beautiful package that they're calling a spiritual treasure, which is nothing but death and disaster inside of that package. All of the conditions of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68, are wrapped up in that shiny package. Death and suffering. They present to you, y'all see why I call it a remix? But y'all stop following the okie doke. I was born into Christianity. I ain't know no better. But when I found out, I got out. I got out. So you make the decision. What do you want? Do you want Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15, the extreme physical riches, the nobility, the noble status, your rightful status? To be super wealthy, rich, everything you do is a huge success? Go read it. Do you want that? Or do you want the punishments? Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. Poverty, death, sickness, illness, fear, bondage. All of that punishment wrapped up to you in a shiny package called spiritual life, and your reward, your spiritual reward for suffering, for accepting that gift of punishment, curses, for accepting being cursed and living your whole life on this plane cursed, is a big bag, a big shiny bag of nothing after you die. All right? Let's continue. Out of it, that's out of suffering, comes new life. Not necessarily a life beyond the grave. Y'all hear that? So that means you may not be resurrected. You may not go to heaven. You may not go to hell. Not necessarily a life beyond the grave. Now, they just told you. They just told you what the deal was. Now, you don't know what to do. You don't know no better. You're ignorant and uneducated, right? On this topic. You don't know what's written in the Ibaryath. You don't know what's written in the Greek or the Latin. You don't know the Coptic Egyptian. So you're ignorant, uneducated on this. So you don't know what to do. So you just decide, I'm going to play it safe. Because if JC is real, then I'm not going to burn in hell. I'm going to go to heaven. Right? But if I walk away from JC what do I get? Y'all got it? Burning in hell is scary. See how y'all being intimidated, punked out of your birthright? Because you're scared? You're scared, so you give up Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14, which is the blessings. The tangible wealth, the noble status as the rightful heir of everything on the planet. You got punked out of it. Just like the bully coming up to you and saying, give me your lunch, or I'm going to bust you in the face. Okay? Give me your birthright, or you're going to burn in hell. But do you see how subtly they mix the reality of this? When the baby comes out, born into this plane, the baby has to what? Make mistakes in order to learn. Okay, so the baby, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove. The baby touches it anyway. Oh, he touches it, he has pain. Or she, right? That's suffering, that hurts. You cry, the baby cried, depending on how bad the injury is, right? You go through life, baby falls off the bike. Okay? Your seed have to learn what to do and what not to do. Some of that hurts. Okay? Some of that's suffering. Right? But that's not the suffering that we're talking about. But they're equating that kind of suffering to the suffering that you incur as part of the curses. Loss of birthright, poverty. We already went through this. Sickness, death, being in fear for your life 24/7. Not the same. But that's what they want you to think. Okay? But I'm here to show you that the two are not the same. Okay? The suffering of a newborn as it grows, develops. He or she grows and develops. Learning and exploring the world. That's completely different than suffering that is put on you by an institution, by corporations. Okay? The one is a part of the natural growth and development process, learning and exploring the world around you. The other is systemic oppression. Genesis chapter 1. Note the difference. Okay? Out of suffering comes new life. That is not true. As we just talked about. Now, can suffering cause you to stop a behavior? Of course, that's the whole purpose of pain, right? Pain is nothing more than communication, a signal that tells you, hey, wait a minute, stop this, stop. Yes, that's what pain is. Suffering tells you, stop, stop. But yet you won't stop. You ignore what's natural. You ignore the natural signal that has been provided to you at birth to change your behavior, change your mindset. You ignore it. Y'all see that? You're out of harmony with nature. And you continue suffering because you think that's what you're supposed to do. But as I said, suffering is a signal that tells you to stop, change. Don't do that anymore. Then you go back into what? Place where you're comfortable, right? You're comfortable. All right. You're without suffering. Not necessarily a new life beyond the grave. Not necessarily a resurrection. Although this is not ruled out. Y'all see that? How they just told you the truth? Now you're holding the bag. Okay? So they just told you the truth. Now, if you drink the Kool-Aid, that's on you. If your reading comprehension is weak, well, that's on you. You're responsible for being educated, educating yourself, learning how to read. Reading is natural. You're born with that capacity, but you have to develop it. If you fail to learn language, that's on you. You will suffer. That's the natural law. You're responsible for you. You're your own savior. But a new awareness of and a new response to the life we are presently living. So y'all see, this is a whole bunch of garbage. All right? The logic doesn't even match up. The moon, which spends 3 days in shadow before it emerges new once more, is a symbol of the indomitable and heroic urge of all life to renew itself in spite of the inevitability of death. And that has absolutely nothing to do with suffering. Y'all see that? That has nothing to do with suffering. Okay? Everybody wants to live. Everything wants to live. That's natural. But it has nothing to do with suffering. Okay? At the end of Dostoevsky's masterpiece, Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov muses on his sufferings in precisely these terms. He did not know that the new life would not be given him for nothing, that he would have to pay dearly for it. Y'all got that? This, trust me, don't trust me. Go back and read the contract. This has nothing to do with the contract. The contract, Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 3 says, the Most High says, if you follow all of my instructions, carefully follow them all, then I'll make you filthy wealthy. That's the essence of it. Doesn't involve paying any suffering debt. Y'all hear me? No, all you got to do is live in harmony with the Most High's laws. No suffering involved. In fact, when you live in harmony with natural law, meaning keep the Most High's commandments, you're happy, you're at peace. Right? You are at peace. This is Shalawama. Get it right, y'all. Check that contract. That it would cost him great striving and suffering. Okay? So there's no suffering. There's no striving to get the blessings. As I've said a million times in this presentation, I've shown you. But this is the beginning of a new story, Christianity. The story of the gradual renewal of a man. The story of his gradual regeneration. This is the story of you giving up your birthright, going into bondage, and living out the curses. Yes, striving, suffering. For nothing. Chasing a spiritual gift and a spiritual treasure that does not exist, when all you have to do to end your suffering is harmonize yourself with the Most High's commandments, which means follow natural law. Do no harm is the essence of it. In doing no harm, we can redenominate that simply as be honorable. Period. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Y'all see I keep saying the same scriptures over and over. Okay? We need to keep the contract. Deuteronomy 20, verse 12. All right? Our ancestors enter into a contract with the Most High, which is to follow natural law. Period. We should do that, contract or no contract, right? Because that's how you prosper and succeed, by following natural law. This should be simple. But this is the beginning of a new story, the story of the gradual renewal of a man, the story of his gradual regeneration, of his passing from one world, from one status as a rightful owner, the rightful heir, passing from one world into another, the world of the dead, the world of a belief system, Dogon, Raphaim, domination and worship, of his initiation into a new, unknown life. Okay? The lesson, note this, y'all, note this. The lesson Scorpio, the lesson of Scorpio, note this. The lesson of Scorpio is that before we can ascend, we have to descend. Absolutely false. Absolutely false. Compare this again with Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. In order to ascend, all you need to do is follow the Most High's commandments, all of them. And you ascend. Period. Go and read it. Read it right now. You don't have to descend. Descend, going down, suffering, losing it all. Those are the curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. Okay? Is it clear? So Christianity pimps you out of your birthright, hustles you, sweet talks you into a life of suffering, giving it up so that they can have it. And you ain't got nobody to blame but yourself. And it is significant that the Scorpio section of the gospel takes place as JC, the Christ figure, and his apostles approached Jericho. Now, y'all know Jericho. Well, if you're a Zion Law School scholar, you know that the promised land is not over in what is today in the landmass today that they call Israel. That is not the promised land. That is not the location of the promised land. Okay? Jericho is the ideal place for teaching about quote unquote descending and quote unquote ascending, since it is the lowest place on earth, 825 feet below sea level. Now, that area is not the promised land. So you can hang that analogy up. This is no evidence. No evidence whatsoever. That's not the location of the promised land. Watch the presentation I did, the video titled, The Location of the Promised Land According to Moses. And it's not doctrine. Not doctrine. Okay, let's continue. Before the ascent to Jerusalem, 2,500 feet above sea level, comes the descent into Jericho. So y'all see that this has absolutely nothing to do with nothing. All right? Doesn't have anything to do with the contract, the Mosaic law. All right? This is garbage. Okay? Sweet talk. In the light of such considerations, that's the evidence he gave. All of it was flimsy and nothing to it, didn't hold water. In the light of such considerations, the urge to grasp for the ephemeral and tawdry babbles of the secular world, that's the riches, the wealth, the fame, and the glory, is indeed vain. Y'all tell me, are the blessings, the tangible wealth, is that vanity? Is what the Most High offered you as a reward for following his laws Is that vanity? The wealth, the prestige, the success, the status, the nobility, the leadership. That's not vanity according to the law. I wonder how many of y'all are offended. If anybody is here, put a 1 in the comment section, because my viewer says 0. It says 0 for a while. Y'all like and share the video. So if I'm here by myself, y'all let me know. But this always happens when I go live. Okay? The viewers say 0. But then when the live stream ends, okay, and I check the analytics, it's never 0. Okay? But it says 0, so I got a 1 right here. It went up to 1. So if you're there, put a 1 in the comment section. So when I check the analytics, it's always much, much more than 1. Okay? But to me, it's showing 1. Like and share the video if y'all still here. If you've been here longer than 5 minutes, like and share. Also subscribe. Oh boy, oh boy. Subscribe. Okay. Joseph Daniel, shalom, pastor. Okay, I'm not a pastor. Chosen assembly in the name of the Most High. Okay, yes, I'm not a pastor. No title. I'm DrYasapa. Okay, so feel free to call me DrYasapa. Pastor is a religious title. Y'all know cardinal is astrological, right? The cardinal points, the 4 cardinal points, the solstices and the equinoxes, right? Y'all know deacons is also astrological. Deacons are constellations located in the neighborhood of a zodiac sign. Those are deacons. Y'all know what a congregation is? Also astrological. Why is it that in Christianity, the titles come from the stars? But yet they tell y'all astrology, now I'm not talking about hocus pocus, newspaper, astrology. I'm talking about the science of the cosmos. Yes, the science, not a deity worship. It's only magic when you're ignorant. If you understand the science behind it, it's no longer magic. It becomes what? Logical. When you call someone reverend, y'all know what reverend means? You better check. If you're going to a church or whatever, and you're calling some dude reverend, you better check how you stand. Check where you stand with Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 3. Okay? You're calling him reverend, you're treating him like he is a reverend, you're in trouble. You're in trouble already. You're going to have to search that to know what I'm talking about. Okay? That's your assignment. Now let's continue. In the light of such considerations, by the way, the person who just sent that comment, watch the video I did on the secret, something like the secret deity of the Hebrew Israelites or something like that. Watch that. Any other videos that I've done on the Tetragrammaton, now I've done videos, presentations, videos on the Tetragrammaton, coming out of The Devil's Pulpit by Robert Taylor, the Reverend Robert Taylor. Okay? Now I'm using that as his title. I don't treat him as a reverend, okay? I'm just using his title. Okay, so Joseph, I am one of the voice crying in the wilderness. Okay, said, okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. Check that out. So let's get clear about the Tetragrammaton, regardless of how you pronounce it. Regardless of how it is pronounced, let's get clear about the identity of the Tetragrammaton. Whether it's the way well, I won't go into that. I don't want to offend anyone. But y'all watch my presentations having to do with the Tetragrammaton, okay? All right, let's continue. In the light of such considerations, the urge to grasp for the ephemeral and twardy babbles of the secular world is indeed vain. JC has already taught us that we need to renounce our attachment to our sense of self-importance. We get that out of the zodiac sign Leo, right? So go back and watch the zodiac sign Leo. Your sense of self-importance, okay, that means your noble status as a rightful heir of all land, resources, and energies on the planet don't matter. Give it up. Okay, that's BS, right, y'all? That means everything. And to wealth. Go back and watch the videos, presentations I did on Libra. So you need to give up wealth. Okay, that's another part of the blessings. You need to give that up to go chasing after the Christ figure. And he, that's JC, has advocated the virtue of self-abnegation. This is in Virgo, so go back and watch the videos I did on Virgo. So all of this is to say that JC is telling you, abandon your birthright as a Genesis chapter 2 more. And I'm not talking about a religion. I'm not talking about a historical people. I'm talking law. Law. You don't know what I'm talking about? Go back and watch all of the videos. I did a video series, something called Moors Are the Rightful Heirs, quote unquote, gods on earth, or something like that. Y'all go back and watch that. Okay? So JC, the Apostle Paul, and your pastor, your reverend, your camp general, captain, officer, all of these people in position are telling you indirectly to abandon the blessings, the wealth, the nobility, the peace, the shalawama. Shalawama encompasses all of that, right? Get back. Justice. Okay? Get everything that was taken away from you back. Every debt that's unpaid, collect it, get it back. Every injustice done to you, justice will be done to the person who did that infraction. Okay? JC is telling you to give it up in exchange for the curses, wrapped in a beautiful package, with the promise called a spiritual treasure as a reward for accepting those curses and walking with those curses until you expire. You get a spiritual reward in heaven which is a big bag of nothing. Ain't nothing in that bag. Okay, it's like going to shop at Macy's. You get a nice bag, but it's empty. Right? And you're not going to enjoy it. At least when you go to Macy's, you see a lot of beautiful things, right? No, but suffering is suffering. So this whole Christianity thing is a trick bag. I hope y'all see it. Sweet talk you out of your blessings. Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. I'm tired of saying that already now. In the Scorpio section, JC teaches us to renounce our need for power over others. Wow. The blessing says that the Most High is going to make us what? The rulers on the planet. Again, this is our rightful status. The rulers of the planet. The controllers of all resources. Y'all heard me? JC says give it up. It ain't important. This is why people who, when they hear this message about the contract that I'm giving, it doesn't resonate with them because they've been conditioned to think that what the Most High is offering us through the Mosaic covenant is bad and you need to give these things up. So they don't want it. Right? But at the same time, they want to be rich and comfortable. Y'all see the inner conflict, the inner turmoil? In the Scorpio section, JC teaches us, see there it is, he teaches you, indoctrinates you to renounce our need for power over others. The apostles are indignant at James and John's request, presumably because they coveted seats in glory for themselves. Well, isn't that what the Most High is offering us as a nation? Seats in glory, right? And so Jesus calls them to him and explains. This is coming from Mark chapter 10, 42 through 45. You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Now, this is a thought I had, y'all. I don't know if it means anything. But at one time I thought, you know, our ancestors, we treated the hybrids like animals. Is this what this is talking about? The Gentiles or the hybrids, the Anhuman, the humans, the human beings, half man, half monkeys. We lorded it over them and their high officials. Now I'm just wondering, I'm not saying that, it's just, you know, a thought that I often have. And their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be slave for all. Now that doesn't change the mindset of wanting to be first, does it? That doesn't change the mindset. That only changes or hides. That only hides the mindset of someone who wants to be first, who don't want to play second fiddle, who doesn't want to cooperate. Here you see the religious hypocrite pretending the sheep and wolves covering. Y'all see it? Pretending to be a servant. Okay? Doesn't say that the mindset of I want to be better than you, I want to be first. That's what you need to get rid of, not being a servant, right? Who in their right mind wants to be a servant? You got to be crazy to want to be a servant, right? By choice? When you can be the boss as a birthright? Come on, get out of here. All right? Okay, you must, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. Okay, so you give up being the creditor, willfully give up being the creditor and you become the debtor. So instead of being the master, you willfully become the slave. You got to be an idiot when you think about this, okay? But this is what Christianity does to you. Warps your thinking. Give up your creditor status. Accept the debtor status. Because that makes you spiritual. And you're going to get treasure in the heaven when you're dead and gone. Prove it. Prove it. I got something to lose. I'm the creditor on earth. Show me what I'm going to get in exchange for giving up my creditor status and becoming a debtor, carrying your burden. Show me. They cannot show you. Okay? It's BS. Don't be a dummy. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Mark 10, 42 through 45. All right, now y'all should know that a man cannot save another man, right? You're responsible for yourself. Islam and Shalawama support my project to write the book of the law back into ancient Ibaryath and into modern English. I'm going to remove all of the lies. I'm going to put all of the celestial content back in, the astrology back in. I'll show the astral theology. I'll remove all of the deceit, the lies, the mythology. All of that will be gone. You will see natural law principles, and other concepts like estate law, etc. All right? Islam to all the Moors. Support my work. My Cash App and PayPal is in the description area of this video. Cash App, $DrYasapa, PayPal, .me/Zion Law School. Buy my books, y'all. Buy my books. Support what I'm doing. Like and share the video and subscribe. Islam and Shalawama. Joseph writes, all right, much appreciated. Joseph, Daniel, I'll be back. I'll be back in a couple hours.